That's more like it. The Boston Celtics run away with one. Jayson Tatum dominates the Celtics attack. And isn't it just so much better to see somebody dominate by attacking the rim? It's all right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Thanks to Blockbuster Brand, it's holiday season, drop Drew in the mix. And 3 from KP, no, we not on the Knicks. Flushing competition like Al on Giannis. Juice and Big Deuce, still B-Town's finest. Banner 18 going up in the rafters. Watch the C's game in Locked On after. Karalis on the breakdown. Clutch like a tip from D. White on the breakdown. John on the mic, documenting domination. Matter pen a back bay, it's all C's nation. Rain and Jace, how we started, raising banners, how we finish. Locked On Celtics pod, home of the winners. Peace.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast, right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every day, and I got you covered every Monday through Friday, plus bonus podcasts like Saturday night when they play the Toronto Raptors. I will be here with a free, fresh podcast for you, dropped directly to your device, so make sure you are subscribed wherever you get your podcasts. Watch the show there on YouTube, get into the comment section, let me know what you're thinking about the Boston Celtics win over the Brooklyn Nets. I'm John Karalis. I've been covering the Celtics team for about 20 years now. I'm doing it right now as the Celtics beat writer for Boston Sports Journal. I'm also doing it as the author of Built Different, a book celebrating Banner 18, now available at johnkaralis.com. You can get it right now for $30 delivered right to your door. Today's show is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA. You'll get $20 off your first purchase. Later on, we'll talk about all the other guys, Pritchard, Hauser, Holiday, White. We'll talk about attacking the paint in a little bit, Tatum and Brown. Let's just start with this. What a welcome kind of palate cleanser, a nice relief after that horrible loss to the Atlanta Hawks. And just a feeling of like, okay, are these guys, what are these guys going to be? Right? Like, it wasn't a concern necessarily, just more wondering like, is this where we're going with this season? Is this what they're going to be this season? Are we looking at just a switch flipping team? And it was good to see after a slow start, which, all right, 4th slow start in a row, not ideal, but I'm going to give them a little bit of a pass on this, a back-to-back. After that tough loss, they come out, as Jaylen Brown said, kind of heavy legs a little bit at first. I'm not expecting perfection on the back-to-back. They started slow. They gave up a bunch of layups. They were really it felt like they were hunting three-pointers, but halfway through the first quarter, things kind of changed, right? They started to, they got another timeout. They started to figure out like, okay, we're going to fix up the defense here. We have opportunities to attack. Let's do that. And they just fixed it. And so I'm really not going to worry about the first 6 minutes of a game when the next 42 were really pretty good. With just after the first 6 minutes, is anybody going to complain about anything in this game? I don't think so. The first 6 minutes had all but one of Derek White's early fouls that got him into foul trouble. They had the 2 Nemish Queta fouls that got him into foul trouble. But they also, after that, we saw Tatum start to dominate. We saw Payton Pritchard come in, do Payton Pritchard things. Again, more on him later. But we saw Tatum own the first quarter, Jaylen own the second quarter, Tatum own the third quarter. So after that first slow start, boom, great. So I ended up happy of watching that game and saying, okay, they're not going down that road necessarily. And, I look at this team and I say, because of Pritchard and Hauser and Holiday and White, along with Tatum and Brown, this isn't a team that should just collectively decide, hey, you know what? We're just going to coast most of this season and we're going to flip the switch when we need to. I know you follow the lead of a Tatum and a Brown, but I don't think those two are going to go down that road necessarily. I definitely don't think Jaylen is going to. I think Jaylen is going to really try to set a tone more often than not. And even if they don't, Pritchard, he had a bad game against Atlanta. He came out after the game. He said, like you could tell it was eating him up inside. So he was like, I basically said I stunk. I had no energy in that last game, which is so weird for a guy like Pritchard to say, but he comes in this game and brings the energy, right? So I just don't think that the concerns that we have, and they're not gone, just like Joe Mazzulla said after the game, nothing's fixed, but also nothing was broken. It's just part of the process. And I think it's hard for people to separate this season from last season. It's not separate, but in some ways it is, because they're figuring new things out. They're starting the process over again. They're kind of not relearning, but they're going through this whole thing from the beginning, right? And so all of that is to say that the slow starts, the playing down to the Hawks, completely not showing them the respect, which Pritchard said after the game, like we did not respect our opponent. That's all part of relearning in a way. Like, okay, we got to remember that the other teams are coming at us a certain way, and if we don't bring it there, it's going to be a little bit different, right? The what we get from other teams is going to be a little bit different. So they course corrected in this Brooklyn game. So very nice to see that course correction. A lot of the things that they did wrong against the Hawks, they did right. Just 3 offensive rebounds for Brooklyn, just 4 steals compared to 20 offensive rebounds for the Hawks and 16 steals. Celtics had 8 turnovers. Jaylen Brown and Jayson Tatum had 11 combined turnovers against the Hawks. They had 1, and it was Jayson Tatum dribbling the ball kind of out of bounds in the third quarter. So not even a live ball turnover, right? So that was, you can live with the occasional, oops, the ball went out of bounds, go back, set your defense, you're okay, right? It's actually better than a missed shot in some ways. So the Celtics won the points in the paint, 52-40, which I'll get to more in later, but that is rare for them to win the points in the paint. They won the field goal attempts, 93-79. I made a big deal about that. Field goal attempts, 93-79, as opposed to 100-75. So limiting the turnovers, limiting the offensive rebounds. Look what you do. You hold the Nets to 79 shots. Celtics had 2 more made free throws. They had 3 more made 3-pointers, even though the Nets shot well. 19 of 43, that's 44%. The Celtics shot 22 of 46. This was another rare thing where the Celtics took 1 more 2-pointer than they did 3-pointers. They don't do that very often. In fact, this is the 2nd time that they've had more 2-pointers than 3-pointers. That's not, they did it against Charlotte, and then they had a 45-45 split against Washington. So the 2nd time that they've shot more 2-pointers than 3-pointers. So that's, you don't see it very often, but that just goes to show what the Celtics saw and how they were reading the game, which brings us to Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and the way those two dominated this game, somewhat taking turns, but more just reading the game and giving it what it needed. Talk about that and the attacking the paint. Get more into that when I come back. Today's show is brought to you by Game Time. You can go to Game Time, download the app, or go to gametime.co and use their new feature called Game Time Picks. If you want to get tickets to something, last minute tickets to something, not just sports, but a comedy show, a concert, a musical, something in town, wherever. You can use Game Time Picks. They filter out the fluff. They curate these tickets so you get the best tickets, the best deals. So it takes a lot of that time. You don't just scroll. So you use Game Time Picks. They give you the best deals. All in pricing. You toggle that feature. You set that on. And when you see the price, that's the price that you're going to pay. And when you see the ticket, the seat view is there. That's the view you're going to see. The app makes it very easy. You get the price that you want, the price that you're going to pay, the view you're going to get. And because they credit you 110% of the difference if you find those tickets somewhere else, you're getting the lowest price guaranteed. They have the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. I've used Game Time a couple times now. It's great. It's super easy to use. The tickets are right there. So I would say download that Game Time app, take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks, and create an account. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA. You get $20 off your first purchase. I'm not eligible because I've used it a few times now. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDONNBA. You get $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Hey, go check out the new Locked On Celtics newsletter. One stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. So you get a Celtics piece based on this podcast. You get a league-wide piece, fantasy. So it's all right there in one stop, plus links. So you get a great newsletter at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. Start your day with the all-new free Locked On Celtics newsletter. Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown dominated this game. Starting with Jayson Tatum, it felt like Jayson at the beginning was part of the searching for three-pointers. And then he said, you know what? The defense is not geared up for me to take three-pointer. I'm just going to attack. He shot 12 of 19 in this game, 5 of 6 from 3. So that's what? 7 of 13. Yes, 7 of 13 from 2, plus 7 of 9 from the line. So not only did he take 13 two-pointers, but he got to the line 9 times. Well, we'll say 8 times. One of them was a tech that he missed. So 8 times. So that's a couple of and ones and then a couple of fouls on the regular just shots. So he did a great job attacking. First quarter belonged to Jayson. He had 13 points in that first quarter. The Celtics came out once again, fell behind by 13, and it was Tatum taking over, attacking. A little bit of support from Jaylen, a little bit of support off the bench. The Celtics got 11 bench points in that first quarter. So that was great, but 13 from Tatum in that first quarter to kind of stabilize things. And it looked like it was going down one of those like, oh crap, another slow start road. It was another slow start, but whatever. It's that, like I said, that's fine. Second quarter, Jaylen Brown takes over. 13 points in the second quarter, 5 of 11, 7 rebounds. He was a rebounding fiend in this one. And the Celtics all of a sudden go into the half up 5. Close game, but you can start to see things turn around. The Celtics win that second quarter by 7. And you're seeing the trend now. Celtics attack. They get into the paint. They're drawing fouls. They're getting to the line. They're generating good three-pointers. They're not just searching for three-pointers. They're not just settling for three-pointers. Now they're starting to generate the good ones, the drives, the kicks, the kick and swing, those types of three-pointers. Third quarter, Jayson comes back at it. I don't know what it is about Jayson Tatum. after coming out of the locker room, that first quarter coming out of the locker room, being at the first of the third quarter, it belongs to him now. 15 points in the third quarter. Jayson going off, 3 of 3 from 3, but he gets, again, to the line twice, 5 non-3-point field goals. The Celtics are attacking. The Celtics they see the openings. They're getting into the paint. And here they are, +9 in the third quarter. This is where they start to really pull away. And in the beginning of the fourth quarter, they put this thing away. You get Drew Holiday now, fourth quarter. He pitches in, but the Celtics, again, attacking. 13 of 23 in the fourth quarter, 5 of 11. So 12 shots in the fourth quarter come from 2. There's some garbage time mixed in, but the Celtics are driving. They're getting into the paint, and the 3-pointers are coming off of that, even off of misses. There was one where Jaylen drove. Luke Cornett gets the offensive rebound, kicks it to the right corner. I want to say Derek White hit the 3-pointer there. That was you don't normally a missed layup can be very damaging, could be like a turnover, but because they were aggressive and they attacked and they got that offensive rebound, that took advantage of, like, it was such a mess for the Brooklyn Nets that Cornette is able to swoop in and get that rebound, and they get the 3-pointer off of that. So Celtics were 18 of 24 at the rim. And like I said, the driving, the attacking it's very unlike the Celtics. They took more 2-pointers than 3s, 47 to 46. It was only the second time they've scored more points in the paint than their opponent. So that's how rare these types of games are. Maybe that will change with Kristaps Porzingis. Not that he's going to take more shots in the paint, but maybe he'll prevent some of those shots in the paint. And look, maybe there'll be a couple more lobs. Maybe there'll be a couple more post-ups. And so maybe those 3-pointers will start to be a little bit more evenly spread. I think it's, first of all, this is a welcome kind of side to the Celtics offense. I like to see the drives, and it might not always be there, right? They play Minnesota and Rudy Gobert's in the middle of the paint. They're not going to go and just attack the paint relentlessly. Although I do say attack the shot blocker. You've got to challenge him. You got to challenge him to not foul. So I do like to attack the shot blocker. There are ways to do it. But regardless, I can understand that there are some games where the 53-point attempts and 30 or 35 or 42-point attempts, that's going to be how it is. And that's fine, right? This is not an anti-3-point rant. I'm not telling the Celtics to stop taking 3-pointers. I believe in the power of the 3-pointer. I understand that 3 is more than 2, and I understand that the math and modern NBA says if you can generate open looks from 3 and hit them at a decent clip, you're going to win these games. And the Celtics, not to like belabor the point, as much as I'm talking about the driving, they were still 22 of 46 from 3. 46 3-pointers is not nothing. That is a lot of 3-pointers. And they hit 22 of them after the first 6 minutes when they were generating, I think, better 3-pointers. They were at like 54% after the first 6 minutes of the first quarter. So they were absolutely hot from 3. But I will say that I think a lot of those were generated by drives, the threat of the drive and moving the ball and kicking it out. And that's where the Celtics offense is in its sweet spot. 53 pointers a game, that would obviously be a record. I think the record is the Rockets 2018-19 Rockets averaged 45.4. So if the Celtics average more, 50, then obviously they're going to shatter that record. It's not about the numbers. It's about what's the defense giving you, and are you putting the pressure on the defense? That's what I want. I want just to see some pressure on the defense. I think the Celtics are good enough with their starting five, and with Porzingis in the starting five, that pushes Horford to the bench. You've got Horford, Pritchard, and Hauser. Your top 8 guys are all good to great to elite three-point shooters. I'm all for those guys taking those shots, but also those guys can get those shots anytime they want. And know Joe Mazzulla, and I know NBA teams say, if you can get a good look at a three, like that early offense three-pointer, you're dribbling down the floor, the defender drifts below the three-point line, you step into an in-rhythm three, sure, fine, 20 seconds on the shot clock. I used to think that's a bad shot, but now I understand. It's not that bad. It's actually probably the best look you're going to get in that offensive possession, except the Boston Celtics can probably get that look almost anytime they want, right? But their ability to set picks and move the ball and all of that stuff. So just drive and kick and drive and put pressure on the defense. Maybe you'll draw some fouls. Maybe you'll get to the line. Maybe you can get some rest for these guys because you're taking free throws and everybody's getting a little bit of an extra rest. And maybe that can help you keep some guys on the floor a little bit more. Maybe you can pile up some fouls and get into the bonus and pile up some cheap old points with touch fouls later in the quarters. Those are the types of things that I want. These teams like Brooklyn, I want to see them in rotation. I want to see them challenged, because the more decisions you make them make, the more likely a team like Brooklyn is going to make mistakes or get frustrated. And, those are the types of things that I want to see. The Celtics can put up 53 pointers on any night they want. And the stuff I'm talking about might still lead to 53 pointers. But if you can generate those fouls, those drives, I want to see that. I want to see that just a little bit more often. It's a work in progress, but when I come back, I just want to say, before I get into the other guys, it's so much prettier to watch a guy dominate by attacking the rim than it is by watching him get hot from three. I'll talk about that when I come back. Today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. It's America's #1 sports book, and get ready to tackle this season with $150 in bonus bets. All you have to do as a new customer is place a $5 bet, your first $5 bet, and win. So make it a good one. Do your research. Place your first $5 bet, you win, you get $150 in bonus bets. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place, or the NBA. If you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and a whole lot more on the same page you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. Make sure you use the tools they have available to you. Set your limits, set your budget, whatever your disposable income is for that week, that month. Is it $10? Is it $50? Is it $100? Whatever it is, whatever your situation, set that limit so you can come back and have some fun gambling responsibly. Place your first $5 bet at FanDuel.com. You get $150 in bonus bets. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Go check out Locked On NBA, 2 podcasts now on the Locked On NBA feed. We're 7 days a week with a Locked On game night, watching the whole night in the NBA, covering that. I do that on Fridays with Jake Madison of Locked On Pelicans. There's an afternoon show now covering the bigger stories in the league. So make sure you're on that Locked On NBA feed. Get both of those podcasts. Really, there's no need to listen to anything besides Locked On podcasts. Locked On Celtics postcast for immediate reaction after the show with Steve Lennox. Then me here. So you get 2 podcasts on the Locked On Celtics feed, 2 podcasts on the Locked On NBA feed. Come on. What more do you need? All right. So I tweeted this out, or put it out on Blue Sky. I don't know what we're calling Blue Sky things. Tom and I were trying to figure it out. And is it biscuits? Is it blue? Well, I have no idea. But I put it out on social media and said, I just think it's so much prettier. it looks so much more dominant when a player like Jayson Tatum or Jaylen Brown is attacking and dominating by attacking versus just getting hot from three. And I will take it. If Jayson Tatum is going to score 40 or 36 in this case, and it's because he went 9 of 9 from three, okay, fine. I'll take it. Hot shooting night. But a hot shooting night can just be like, wow, he got hot. I've seen guys get hot from three. I've seen Marcus Smart set the team record for three-pointers. But watching Tatum drive past one guy, two guys, spin, go up on the other side of the rim, finish, draw the foul and one. That is dominance. That looks more dominant because you're going through 1, 2, 3 defenders because you're finishing and they can't stop you. You're going up against the opposing team and getting to where you want. Yeah, a lot of people can get up to a spot and hit a shot. They can be left open. They can hit contested shots and be like, wow, he's feeling it. But going through, there's a guy in front of you. Dribble, boom, by you, see ya. Now he's in your wake. And now the next guy comes over to help. Nope, you ain't got me either. And then you spin off the next guy and you finish and get the foul. There's a whole lot of you can't stop me in that move. That is great. That is dominant basketball. That is fun. I just want to see a little bit more of that. I want to see that more often because that is just beautiful to watch. That's the stuff, by the way, that can make an MVP. That's the stuff that gets into people's heads that makes you go, whoa, they cannot stop this guy. They got nothing for Jayson Tatum. They got nothing for Jaylen Brown. That's the type of stuff I want to see. And when I see it, it's just like gorgeous individual basketball. That's the stuff that builds legends, that builds the mentality of like, hey, who are the most dominant players in the league? And you're like, well, it's these guys that I keep seeing go through 1, 2, 3 defenders. You know, LeBron, Giannis. You can't stop those guys. When Giannis is doing what he's doing, you're like, man, he's unstoppable. And yes, you can say that about Steph Curry, but there's just something about that driving through the defense, hot knife through butter. I'll take it where I can get it, right? I'm not going to sit there and be like, no, I'd rather not see a 40-point game based almost entirely on three-pointers. Please, none of that. No, I'll take it. But the type of game that Jayson Tatum, especially against Brooklyn, played, that's chef's kiss. That's the type of stuff you're like, yeah, put that on the highlight reel, man. That's if you're making a highlight reel of the Celtics season, you got 4 or 5 Tatum drives just in this game that you could put on there. All right, the rest of these guys, let's talk about Derek White first because he did not have a good game. Surprisingly, did not have a good game. You don't see that often from Derek White, but bad one from D. White. Early foul trouble, but man, he had that one blocked shot. Whoa, that was, I forget who it was that he blocked, and they called a foul on it. It had to be challenged. That was sweet. That was, the second half, he stepped it up definitely, but a tough night for him with the foul trouble. He looked out of sorts. Tough shooting night overall, but overall plus 13. He had that block, and what more can you say about that? Drew Holiday was kind of all over the place. He was, whenever the Celtics just needed a little something, he was there. Fourth quarter, rebounds, offensive rebounds, assists. Drew Holiday was in one of those, like, you know why he had a good game. I could just tell you, Drew Holiday had a good game. I say that about Derek White. I've been doing that on Boston Sports Journal. When they have a good game, I just say, you know why. And you know why. right? If I just tell you Drew Holiday had a good game, you know why. Because he did Drew Holiday things. So good to see Payton Pritchard. Pritchard after the game was like, he seemed, I don't want to say distraught. I don't want to make it like over dramatic, but he very clearly was not happy with his performance against Atlanta. He kind of was like, I didn't have the right energy. Said it happens sometimes, but like he very much was like, he knew he had to make up for it, and he did. 23 points off the bench with 8 assists, 6 rebounds, 2 steals, a block, and a crazy putback that he was like, I don't even know how I did it. Like, I think he went up to sneak in to grab the offensive rebound, and he tipped it. He probably would have liked to grab it, but in that kind of mess, he just tipped it and it went in. So it's like, you just jog back after something like that. You just jog back like nothing happened, like you meant to do it, and you just go back and pick up on D, right? You don't do the wide eyes. You just say, well, it's exactly what I wanted to do, even though he didn't know what he did. But that was a sweet play. Great bounce back game from Payton Pritchard. I mean, he has bailed the Celtics out in how many times this season already, right? They've played 13 games. He's been awesome in all but what? 3, 4? This is a great season. I don't normally like to talk about awards on November 14th, but man, he really is making a case for that 6th man of the year. He's going to start building that case and building himself a lead that it's going to be hard to make up. So another great game from him. And just shout out Sam Hauser, 4 of 10 from 3. So that's the most that he's hit so far this season. He's had a tough shooting season, but more than that, he had some great defense. He had a block shot, which was really nice. He had 6 rebounds. He was out there being challenged, but stepping up to the challenge. So a really nice defensive game from Sam Hauser. So overall, look, it's the Brooklyn Nets, but they have not lost by more than 15 until this game. So this is the first blowout loss for the Brooklyn Nets this season. They've been tough this season. Credit to them. So it's good to see the Celtics come out, do the things that I love to see, balanced attack and 3-point shots. I definitely want to see that a little bit more balanced. I don't care if they finish the season with more 3s than 2s. Just want to see it a little bit more balanced. And that was great. They read the game very well. Slow start, not worried about that one in this particular case. Let's see what they do Saturday night against Toronto. But overall, nice palate cleanser of a game for the Celtics here against the Brooklyn Nets. Saturday night, they will be playing against the Raptors. I will be podcasting after that. Obviously, I got a podcast for you tomorrow. This is the Thursday show. I will have a Friday show. Then they play Saturday, so that will be a Sunday show. So make sure you're subscribed to watch that or listen to that on the audio feed. Watch it on YouTube. Get into the comment section. Let me know what you're thinking about all of this stuff. Do you agree, disagree with me? What did I get right? What did I get wrong? Tell me in the comment section. And I would love it if you shared the podcast and told everybody they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.